In a Federman, there's a Wayne. Finally, he gets to do an album he likes that is relevant. Usually, he does some weird blues record. And when I offered this one to him, he damn near shit himself. Dude, we did it. Wayne.
Yeah.
Wayne.
Yeah. I'm here.
Wayne. No, I know that. I'm building it up for.
Okay.
I've been so excited about this because I feel like I'm finally.
Couldn't believe it.
You've come in clutch for so many obscure records that no one fucking knows. Shit, you did 2 of them in the span of 3 weeks that no one could have given a fuck about, and you came in prepared and ready to rock. And when we were coming up with booking this, I mean, we were going like big guitarists, and we hit a roadblock, or it was like, Tom Morello's busy or this, and then I was just like, let's give it to Wayne. I know he knows it, and like I haven't done one with him in a while, and I know how happy he'll be. Because it's not like blind Willie Jenkins and the and the 2-step shuffle boys.
His name was Pine Top. Yeah.
So the first question I want to ask, before we even get into this, is Caitlin Clark better than Pistol Pete Maravich?
It's a whole different thing. Good question. She is an amazing basketball. She's been an amazing college basketball player, and she's doing pretty good in the pros. So I am a huge fan of Caitlin Clark.
Right.
But this is something you don't know about. I've been following the WNBA since it was founded.
I know you own jerseys and hats and merch.
No, I don't do that. But I've been to games. I've been to finals. I've always liked women's basketball, but the biggest fans of women's basketball, believe it or not, this is from the commissioner, Adam Silver.
Is who?
Believe it or not, people like me, like middle-aged white guys who enjoy
all black women that are.
Oh yeah, you think it would have been like lesbians and no, nothing like that. Like that was the biggest fans of. Until Caitlin Clark, when Caitlin Clark, I think, is captured like a Taylor Swift.
For sure. It's runaway. It's runaway success, and she deserves it. She's so good. Do you think that there's somebody mad right now that's been waiting for this album?
I know.
On the podcast. I don't give a shit. I get to talk. I don't get to see you that often, and I love you. You know how much I love you. You're Fetty Wap. The whole thing with, do you think she's getting like the Michael Jordan treatment in the league right now? Like the hard fouls?
Every rookie does. But she's incredible. She's doing great.
By the way, I have never been to a WNBA game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see how long I can keep that streak going.
Well, Washington has one of the worst teams.
Mystics are terrible. Yeah.
Terrible. Has one of the worst teams. But
one of my favorite things to do is to make up fake WNBA player names.
Oh, that's great.
So I'd be like, all right, this is power forward Shlamika Coleslaw.
Oh, I see.
Shlamika. She's Jewish. Oh, Shlamika? Coleslaw.
It's incredible. She can go to her right, she can go to her left, pull up, mid-range. Shlamika is amazing. She makes an amazing brisket. She's very good.
They call it deckle.
How
are you doing, buddy? Are you good?
I'm doing pretty well. Believe it or not, I had a cold yesterday. So
thank God. I thought you were
my
voice.
Did my voice sound okay?
You sound like Biden during the debate.
There we go.
Dude, it's like I was in Baltimore this weekend. Great club, the Port Comedy Club. Big shout out to Matt, Hector, and Mike, my openers. I had a great time, and it's right after the debate, which was on Thursday night, and I was at the Cellar watching a little bit of it, and I remember Noah, the owner, was like, "Oh my God, it's over. Trump won. It's terrible." Blah blah blah. And I was like, and then I go into the thing and I go on stage and I start talking because I'm from Maryland and I love the
Same
the
here.
D.
Same
I
here.
love. Wait, where you're? Fuck. Why can't I remember that? Really?
Before Florida, I lived in Silver Spring, Maryland.
That's true.
why I'm
Yes,
a
we
lifetime Redskin fan.
yes, football team we call them. Now we still.
Oh, I didn't hear any of that. When did that change?
So right, I think it was Shlamika Coleslaw that started the thing. But I was talking about how I love the D and the M, but the V can go fuck itself. I think Virginia is the shittiest state. It's racist. You do, and then I was like, you can't cream pie there. And then I was like, that's what Biden should go on stage. He goes, this guy wants to take away cream pies. I'm pro cream pie.
I don't know quite what that means. Is that a sexual thing?
Yeah, it means finishing inside the woman.
Oh, I got you.
That's how life is created. Yeah, cream pie. Cream pie is the funny, cute word, instead of
or ejaculating inside a woman.
Yeah, you don't. Oh shit, I'm gonna ejaculate.
Okay.
You don't do that.
Okay.
And Logan's recording this now, and she's gonna cancel. Logan, I'm sorry about this. Are you there? She's not paying attention anymore.
I am. Yeah. I'm here.
We got Log today. And we've got Wayne. How we're using StreamYard now, which is the new service. I feel like there's no loss. I love this thing. I think this is making the podcast so much better now. If we have to do it on Zoom, and I promise you this: the next time we do one with you, let's do it live in Los Angeles when I come into town. We'll do it. We'll do it at the Comedy Store. They've been letting me use their studio. But regardless, we are here today to talk about cream.
Speaking of cream pie.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Now that's why I'm a comedian. That's why I'm a professional comedian.
You've been doing it fucking 59 years. How long have you been doing it?
It's in the 40s. It's in the 40s. It might be 40. Dude. Yeah, it's in the 40s.
I love it. You still don't even have a good 5 minutes.
I don't. I can't. I have a loose. And then at 3 minutes in, I do my famous line. So what else?
At about 7 minutes, and I go, "Where are you from?
Where are you? What do you want to talk about, folks?
Yeah, what do you guys feel like talking about?" So we're doing a record that I think for the first time. No, I think Steve Miller Band was one that you really wanted to do.
Logan, way more than that. I'm a guitar hero guy.
Logan, will you do me a favor, and will you, while me and him are talking, will you compile every episode that Fetty Wap has done with us? Because I want to know the number. I want to know. We can go down the list. And then at the end, what we're going to do is we're going to go through them, and I want you to rank the albums that you've done so far by like how good you think they are. Right? I think that'll be fun, and then I'll kill 10 minutes.
Why? There's a lot to talk about.
I know there is. So what's great is that I didn't do any research with Morty on this. I didn't do anything. So all right, so everybody knows our album today is number 205 out of 500. It is Cream's Wheels of Fire. Released, let me just take a little scootle. Released on twice in the US, June 14th, 1968. Let's just stay with that. It was recorded during 67 and 68 in Winterland in the Fillmore in San Francisco, and the studio also in London. So it's a live album and it's a studio record.
Correct.
And it's produced by Felix Papalardi. What a great name.
Yep.
All right. So when I texted you about this, because this is finally my first time really digging into a Cream record. I'd never listened to, I know. I'd never listened to one all the way through. But dude, I know like White Room and Crossroads and Sitting on the Top of the World. Good God. Great. I mean, there's some shit on here I don't like. Like, I didn't give a fuck about Passing the Time, but I mean, dude, I mean, what a fucking record. What a mission statement as a band. I couldn't imagine what this was like hearing it for the first time when it came out. And I remember when I texted you, you said, I still remember the first time I heard it. So tell me all about it.
Well, one of the lucky things about I had older brothers and sisters is they were the ones that were into rock. You know, I was only 9 years old, but my older brother was like 12, 14. So he was really into it. So when he bought this album, I remember him unwrapping the album, a double album. I think the Beatles had that White Album came out around the same time. You can check that out, Logan, whatever. I know it's both 68. So it was like, what? There's 2 records in a this is incredible. And half of it's live. The second album's live, first album studio. And to this day, the song you opened the podcast with, White Room, is my favorite Cream song. More than that's called Sunshine of Your Love. Yeah.
The Beatles' White Album came out on November 22nd, 1968.
Yeah, so it's before even the White Album came out. So it blew, again, I know it doesn't seem like anything now that someone would be excited that there was a double album.
I get it.
But it was, oh my God. And as soon as he started playing White, I couldn't believe it, especially the second verse when he starts doing the wah-wah pedal, which I had heard a little from Hendrix already, but God, the call and response when he sings and then the guitar player responds. I mean, it's as good as obviously I love it, but it was incredible. What did it sound like to you? I mean,
it sounded like every band that I've ever listened to. It's the blueprint for all the music that I love.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like every band is influenced by him, because it's literally just blues. It's just blues. It's all the shit that we've been listening. It's the BB Kings. It's the Albert King. It's the Freddie King. It's
a lot of Kings.
It's the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. It's all that shit.
Yeah.
But this has a grungy, crunchy feel to it. And here's the thing is that I know this is like a super group, right? So tell me about this is your chance to shine. This is why we bring the Fetty on. I don't want to do the research. You host for me. Okay. Tell me what you know about the band, how we got there, and then I'll add some stuff.
Please interrupt with questions all the way along. I agree with you. The cream, which was named because they were the cream of the guys in this blues scene in London and even outside of London. There was a crazy just obsession of the whitest of the white people from England, right?
They are the whitest.
The whitest of the white people.
I think Australians might be the whitest.
All right, whatever, but they're up there. I mean, when you think of like when I would watch those old Tarzan movies, all of the like white guys that came down there were all had English accents. It was like an obvious thing. So for some reason, and I think it might have been, and I'd be curious what you think as a musician. I think it might have been the authenticity of the music hit them in a way that maybe pop songs that were around at the time didn't hit them. I have no idea why John Mayall and all of those guys just went nuts for this kind of music.
We have that record actually coming up. We have John Mayall and the Blues Breakers.
Oh, you do?
Okay, yeah, we have that coming. You might be doing that one too. Okay, I mean, but this is what was so before this. Was there anybody doing anything like this? Like,
yes, of course. We listen. One of the albums that we'll be talking about later with Logan is the Yardbirds. We did 2 Yardbirds records, and Clapton was in the Yardbirds, and they were a blues band. And before that, Clapton was playing with a band called the Roosters, and they did some blues. But Cream, they took the best guys from that scene. And if it's a really interesting story that that was Clapton was the guitar player. It's just a trio.
Yeah,
I mean, if you listen to this, right, it's just a trio. Clapton, and then on bass, a guy named Jack Bruce, and then drummer, a guy named Ginger Baker. Ginger is not his real name. He was named Ginger because his hair.
He's a ginger.
Back then, it wasn't the
Jewish boy.
It wasn't a slur. It was just.
Is it a slur now?
Yeah, to call
I
someone
mean,
a
I guess it does have that kind of connotation, but I
Yeah.
don't think anybody ginger. You're a ginger. I do it with the A.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Not
There
the
you
hard
go.
R.
Not the hard R, dude. I don't want to get canceled. Come on.
So they took these guys, but the crazy thing is that Baker and Bruce, the bass player and the drummer, and by the way, he was more than just a bass player. Jack Bruce was also composed a lot of these songs. He had a writing partner with him and could also play harmonica and was the lead singer, basically, for the band, not Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton only sang in maybe 5 or 6 of Cream's songs. One of them, Crossroads, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So, yeah, it was a really interesting. So there's this scene, and they call it a super group, but yes, they took them from different bands. At the time, Jack Bruce was playing, I think, with Manfred Mann. Do you remember that band?
I do not know.
I'll
look. I'll double check your math as you're doing this, just in case.
No. Did he been that?
Oh,
band.
I thought that was the Who. Wait, who was that?
No,
that
I believe that's Manfred Mann.
Man,
But
okay.
they also, at one point, the two of them were in something called the Graham Bond. God damn it, what is it called? Experience or something like that. I will look that up. And they and Graham Bond was this organist who played blues, but he also played jazz, and he's just this legendary guy in that scene. Ends up very depressed, ends up killing himself by throwing himself under a train. But anyway, they were in that band with Graham Bond, John McLaughlin. I don't know if you know that great guitar player. He was in that. Anyway,
Was he a jazz player?
Jazz, yes, yeah,
Oh, yeah. John McLaughlin. Yeah. He was in Bird.
Miles Davis.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe he was, but no, he was in a separate band,
right?
Called like Birdland or something, or
he might have been. Again,
okay, it doesn't make a difference. I'm just trying to act like I know something.
Oh, the Graham Bond Organization. That's what it was called, because the guy played the organ. Yes,
I see that. He's Graham Bond Organization, Cream, John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, Blues Incorporated, Manfred Mann, Tony Williams Lifetime.
Yes,
a whole bunch of shit. Yeah, I got it all.
You got it. So Clapton, I don't know if I said Clapton is God, would that mean anything?
Yes,
to you?
I know the story.
Yeah, okay.
And I understand. Like I here's the deal: is that the first Clapton record we did on the podcast, we actually had Joe Satriani on.
What?
Yeah, crazy, huh? One of the most technically advanced guitarists out there. Every genre, whatever you want to call it, the guy can play it. He's taught so many greats like Steve Vai and still touring today. Coldplay ripped him off. That's all besides the point. But he was the one we got into a long discussion about that. And I think why I'm gonna get your opinion. Why would people say that?
I'll tell you. Because again, we have this burgeoning blues scene, which is not pop music. This is not Beatles music. This
is not popular.
This is not, well, it's popular in England, and it's a scene. It's like I'm trying to think if there's something like that's similar to that.
It's not like grunge that like took over everything.
Yeah,
it's more like a subsect of other rock music that people like dubstep.
I would say it was like grunge before it took over. Okay. Do you know what I mean? Like there's something going on. They're playing music in a different way.
Yeah.
Kids are going nuts for it. There's an aesthetic to it. So that was the blues scene. So Clapton, and he comes out of the Rooster, joins the Yardbirds. The Yardbirds go too pop for him. So he has to leave. They had this song called For Your Love. For Your Love.
Oh, yeah.
And Clapton was like, I can't do this.
For Your Love. Is that it?
You know all of these songs.
That's more like neo-psychedelic kind of like, incense, peppermints, ripples in time.
Very good. Look at you.
I'm not an idiot, dude. I know. Why
I know.
You're making me feel like I don't know shit. I've been doing a podcast of music for 5 years, bro. You think it doesn't just go in one ear and go out the other. I sponge, bro. I absorb, not everything.
And then we squeeze and it comes out.
Squeeze the juice. And then I find out that yeah, Felix Papalarde also produced Mississippi Queen. He wrote that song with Mountain.
Yep, he sure did. And we're going to get into a couple other aspects that I think you're going to really enjoy. One is the engineer for these records was a guy named Tom Dowd. We're going to talk about him. And then obviously we're going to talk about the roots of the blues music. But before we get to that.
Yeah, take us there.
Before we even get to any of that stuff. So Clapton leaves and joins John Mayall and the Blues Breakers or whatever they're called. And at that point, he is the one that some people say, he admits it. He goes like, I just studied what B.B. King and Albert King and all of the Kings and all of these guys were doing guitar-wise, but he started playing. He could do all of those licks. He's in his early 20s, and he just absorbs it in a almost savant way is the way I would describe it. Like all the things, the pull-offs, the hammer-ons, the double stop, the bends, the vibrato, all of those techniques. He can do those phrases on his guitar effortlessly. And he's not showy, just stands there and plays the hell out of it. And people notice.
Boring show. One of the most boring concerts I've ever been to was Eric Clapton at the Garden. I mean that. I'm not, dude, it really sucked. He didn't even say anything racist. It's like, at least go on a fucking racist tirade. Like, give me something, dude.
I want to hear something about Pakistani people.
Yeah, come on, dude. Do you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
Off topic. I got called a racist 3 nights ago at the Cellar. I was like doing like comedy, and I was like, there's 5 guys in the front that were all Indian, and they were having the best time. And I wasn't being racist at all, but I was, mentioning the Indian stuff. Yeah, I was being racial, but they were loving it. They were having the best time. The guys it was just the best. And I'm going to get like 5 clips that I'm going to post next week. And the guy he came up afterwards and he goes, dude, I had the best time ever. Thank you for bringing me up and bringing me out of my shell. And I'm out front because I always like to get out front of the Cellar to like get people to follow me. I have my QR code of my Instagram on my phone, and I say, I tell them, I'll be out there if you want to follow me. I'd love to see you back. And
you'll take a picture with them and stuff?
Oh yeah, I'll do whatever they want. And then these 3 Indian chicks come out and they're like 21, 22, and they're like smiling at me. I'm like, oh, they love me. And then they go, you fucking suck. And I was like, what? They're like, you're fucking racist. I'm like, well, no, I'm not. I was like, I wasn't racist at all. They're like, all you did was make fun of one race the whole time. I was like, no, I did not. And the guy had a great time. I'm so sorry you think that, but I am not racist. She's like, fuck you. You're fucking horrible. That wasn't funny. Fuck off. And then they walk off. And then the next guy that walks out is this big like country bumpkin. And he's like, man, that was the funniest shit I've ever heard in my whole life. He's like, you're great, dude. You're funny. You're a funny comic. Fuck those brown people. Okay, he didn't say that last part, but I think it's funny just to say it. So that's the story. All right, sorry about that. Where were we?
No, you were. Can I add something to your sidebar? Am I allowed to sidebar the sidebar?
Please.
Okay, so this is a double sidebar. Logan, hold on. We don't know what's going to happen here. When I was starting doing comedy, before there were cell phones, obviously 40 years ago, and anything like that, I would also hang out like outside as the crowd left. And we called that trolling for compliments.
Sure. Oh yeah, I've been there, done that.
That was it. Just like, all right, I know I just had a great time here. Let me get some more ego satisfaction, but just have people look at me, shake my hand, high five. I'm not older than the high five. So that was around when I started the high five. But yeah, we used to call it trolling for compliments. I always thought that was a great expression. All right.
Yeah.
Back to Cream. So anyway, during his time with the Yardbirds, with John Mayall's Blues Breakers, which he left because the Yardbirds were too, what's the word for it? Commercial. Yeah. And by the way, the 2 guitarists that replace him basically in the Yardbirds are Jeff Beck, who we're going to talk about, and Jimmy Page, who you know, of course. So it's a scene. It is a crazy scene. But people somebody wrote on a wall, Clapton is God during this period. That Clapton was just so much better than all of those guys. And that's basically has stayed with him for years. And again, I'm sorry it was a boring concert, but he's not Hendrix. He's not Jimmy Page running around doing all of that
know
stuff.
that, Wayne, but the problem, he didn't even play like Lay Down Sally. Like he didn't play like so many songs. He did like 5 or 6 really obscure blues songs that no one gave a fuck about. And then he did he did acoustic versions of Layla. No, he didn't. He don't think he even played Layla, dude, to be honest with you. I'm going to look up while you look, I'm going to look up the fucking, no, I want to look up the set list so you can just go, oh my God, that he barely played anything. All right, continue.
So anyway, so that is the Clapton's God. And then he ends up leaving John Mayall. He has an idea of how he wants to do the blues, and it's less harmonica is my guess. Because even though that Jack Bruce does play harmonica, that is kind of like the blues instrument. In fact, he records Crossroads with a band called Eric Clapton's Powerhouse.
Okay.
This is between the two of them. Obscure thing you don't even know much about Eric Clapton's Powerhouse, but that was recorded 4 songs, including Crossroads at that time. And then he decides with Bruce and, Baker to create Cream and see if they can do just like, we're just going to get the best musicians in town to try to create this blues scenes. And it takes off. They only make, I believe, 4 albums, right? It's Fresh Cream, Disraeli Gears, Wheels of Fire. And then they decide to break up. And this is insane. They do a breakup album. Have you ever heard of that?
I've never heard of it. Well, the band.
Oh, that final concert they did?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of that, right?
Yeah. I guess there's other bands that were just like, okay, but that was sort of their greatest hits. They did an album called Goodbye Cream. That was their last album. Like,
really?
This is it, kids. We're out of here. And they broke up. And part of the reason they broke up is Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce
could not get along.
Did not get along. Loathed each other. Each other. Yeah, to the point where, because Jack Bruce, they were starting to really, this is the era of the Marshall amplifiers.
Yeah.
And so this is when the bass could be easily drown out a drummer. It used to be drummers were loud, like, hey, to keep it down. Suddenly, like, oh, the drums aren't even loud enough anymore.
Yeah.
And Cream is a very loud band. So he would face his bass amplifier towards Ginger Baker and just make his life miserable. To this, before Ginger Baker died, he said that he lost his hearing because of Jack Bruce.
Really? That's crazy that it's the drummer is the one complaining about loud.
But remember earlier we were talking about that crazy band, the I'm blanking on his name, Bond, and they were both in that band, and Ginger Baker fired Jack Bruce out of that band and pulled a knife on him. So it was very like crazy England kind of street thuggery going on there.
Yeah.
It was really bad. And I don't know why Eric Clapton, why they didn't say anything. Just like, I can't play with this guy. So that's what happened. Then they didn't play together until they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then they reunited for one more concert series at Royal Albert Hall, and then in New York City, and then that was it. Have you ever seen the documentary about Ginger Baker?
No.
Without giving away anything, this super fan puts up all this money to do this documentary, and by the end, Ginger Baker ends up, because he has a cane now because he's so old, hitting him in the face with the cane. There's blood coming down his face. The documentarian, the guy just asking him questions.
Why did he do that? Did he ask him something like personal or?
I guess. I mean, all I know is Ginger Baker is, I would use the word volatile. to
Yeah,
describe
I had heard
Ginger
that. I had heard that, like, was it him or Levon? No, it was Ginger Baker. I remember there being an article, maybe in the Washington Post, about Ginger Baker and how eccentric he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good word.
So who knows? Maybe he was upset about being called a ginger all those years, like right in his name. Like anytime everyone wrote about it, it felt like a slur. What do you think?
He's like, it's Dirty Brown.
Yeah. That's what my real name is. Not even Ginger.
Dirty Brown Baker.
So that was an interesting dynamic. Also, what's great about this album and this era is this is the birth of the kind of popular music that I love the most, which is the guitar hero. And that's Clapton, and then Beck, all the Yardbirds guys, Jimmy Page, and then of course, Jimi Hendrix, and then we're off to the races, and then right up through Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eddie Van Halen and all of that. I always like guitar. I just like the virtuosity of the playing. So
is this
your buddy Tommy?
Oh yeah, is this around the same time as Led Zeppelin? Like
right before.
So Zeppelin's 70s, right?
No. Zeppelin forms in 68, the year this album comes out, and tours a little. Their first album, Led Zeppelin 1, comes out early 69. Led Zeppelin 2, end of 69. So I know Led Zeppelin seems like a 70s band, but they're really from this era. And
but
there's also playing a lot of blues.
Were they the biggest band of the 70s?
Yeah.
Zeppelin,
I think Led Zeppelin was the biggest band in the set. The only one that could possibly, the only bands that could possibly compete with them was the Rolling Stones, which had huge stadium tours.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, Paul McCartney and Wings had a nice run there of playing stadiums.
Oh yeah.
But Zeppelin was it. But again, this is from this whole aesthetic of like, and the way they recorded this album, Wheels of Fire, and the other albums, Israeli Gears and everything, is just really accentuated the guitar playing, the virtuosity, the skill, the effortlessness of a young Eric Clapton. He might be 25 years old or something at this point. So he's the youngest one in the band. Ginger's the oldest. Jack Bruce is in the middle. So it was a really, anyway, as big as they were in England, Cream was bigger in the United States.
Really?
Oh yeah, Cream was. Yeah, we lost our minds when we heard this kind of music. Just lost their minds, and they toured, they sold out, and they were signed to. And we did an album. We did a.
What did we do?
The Atlantic Records. They were signed to Atlantic Records. So, and their rock and roll division, which was called Atco. So,
were they the heaviest band of the time?
It's a good question because I don't know exactly. I know at the time Black Sabbath was coming around, but definitely, yeah. And we're going to talk about that engineer, Tom Dowd, who was the chief engineer. If I may do a quick sidebar about this guy.
Side any way you want to go, baby. This is your Dowd.
Tom Dowd, who is one of only 3 engineers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's only 3 of them. And that's how incredible this dude was. He, boy genius, went to Stuyvesant High School, started studying physics, goes to Columbia, gets drafted, ends up working on something called the Manhattan Project in Manhattan. He's not in Los Alamos, not in New Mexico. I don't know if you saw Oppenheimer, but that's all about that project to create the first atom.
I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but I've seen Redenbacher, which is about the guy, the popcorn guy.
Yeah. That's a good one. I remember that was a big thing when that movie came out. Everyone dressed up.
Oh yeah.
That was so anyway, so the project, this top secret project to build the nuclear atomic bomb to end World War II. Tom Dowd is like a 19-year-old working on the physics of that in Columbia, top secret at the time. That's how much of a genius this dude was.
Wow. Yeah,
And
looking at looking at his line of Eddie Money, Bee Gees, Skinner,
Yeah.
Clapton, Cream, Lulu, the Allman Brothers, Meatloaf, and it just goes on and on.
But he invents faders. You know, when you see on a board like people like using faders, there used to
No.
be knobs, and I'm like, I can't play. I need to play the soundboard as well.
Oh,
When-
like turning it up and down?
Yeah.
Like-
Just, when you see the sliders on a 24 track, 8 track, anything like that, he invents that. There wasn't anything.
What the fuck? Really?
Yeah, he's incredible. He's just a
That's
mad
awesome.
genius he just loves music. And he took all the knowledge he had from physics and Columbia and all of that and put it into how to record these bands. Because there's two things that go on in a recording studio. You know, you record. There's the producer, which is there to decide which is the best track and all of that, make this band, make everyone happy, get it all done. And then there's the engineer who has the hardest job, in my opinion, because he is the person, it's mainly he, sometimes it's she. He has to take what's happening in that studio and put it on that tape. Put it on that tape and make it sound close to what happened in there.
Yeah.
Capture it. Engineers are all about capturing what's going on in the studio. So he was this genius who did that. And a lot of time, don't forget Cream. This is the era of the SG, the Gibson SG and the Les Paul and stacks of amplifiers. So that would all be way too loud for most recording studios, because they're like, you couldn't go over the red line. So he figured out a way, compression, all of that stuff. And he's an important part of this story of why Cream was so popular, because the way those records sounded. Like you said, when you heard it, still sounds pretty good, right?
Oh, this is a great record.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm putting aside the live album. Live albums is great because it's fun and it's live and it's that.
Yeah.
But the studio record, there's not many misses on it. Like, it's a pretty solid album, in my opinion. There are, like I said, there's a couple things I'm not in love with. But for the most part, I mean, it sounds great. I love that they open with White Room. I love that they go right into Sitting on Top of the World. I didn't like Passing the Time.
That's a Ginger Baker song with his buddy. Yeah,
it was a pretty lame one.
Right.
And then Born Under a Bad Sign, Press Rat and Warthog. There's a couple ones that
What about Politician? Did you ever get it? Did you ever get to that?
Sure, I listened to the whole record like 3 times. I mean, it's funny. It's like I forgot to. I'm starting to get back when I do the podcast into pulling sections of music out to play. But I knew that you knew the record so well, and I've been traveling so much, I just didn't have time to sit down and do it. But the moral of that is the second half. I love the first half, but I think the second half is probably the one that I'm like really vibing on. So talk to me about Politician. Yeah.
Well, it's another one of these. This is why Jack Bruce was so key to this band, was him and his guy, Pete Brown, which is his writing partner, wrote this song. This is Eric Clapton. I don't think wrote one song on this entire album. I'll double check it, but
I'm looking right now. He did not.
I don't think he did.
It's all Jack Bruce, Pete Brown. There's a lot of, there's some covers, but a lot of Bruce Brown, Baker Taylor, Booker T.
Yeah. So they're doing blues covers. They're covering Howling Wolf with Sitting on Top of the World and Born Under Bad Sign. It's certainly Sitting on Top of the World was a Howling Wolf song. So I don't know. They just were very creative writing these songs. Again, Cream had 2 sides to them. They had this premier power trio that would sing these incredible songs, showcasing Eric Clapton. This whole band was a showcase for Eric Clapton. And then underneath it, you have this extremely creative bass player, which we'll get to with I know you don't want to talk about the live album, but we have to talk about
we have to talk about it.
We have to talk about Crossroads for real.
Yes.
And then and then this drummer who was a jazz drummer, traditional jazz, they used to call it trad jazz. Have you ever heard that expression?
No.
Yeah. Because I guess traditional is too big a word for English people to say. And then he figured out, I don't know how it happened, but he did kind of like African rhythms on his tom-toms. So that's what he was known for. And again, this is not only the Guitar Hero era. This is the era of these very showcasey drummers. Ginger Baker, Mitch Mitchell over with the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Obviously with The Who. Obviously a couple years later, Ringo Starr. And then Led Zeppelin with John Bonham. And a traditional jazz drummer is a little more like Charlie Watts was. Not showy, anything like that. And then suddenly you got Ginger Baker, who on their very first album has a song called Toad, which is this long drum solo way before Moby Dick. And we're like, oh my God, they're showcasing just the drummer. And they do a version of Toad on the live version. So it's, again, these are phenomenal musicians, phenomenal. And we'll talk about Jack Bruce's bass playing when we get to Crossroads a little bit, and great songwriters. They're like, these are great songs. But the point was they had that part of the band. And then they also had this weird kind of like English music hall novelty song side to the band, very quiet, like little ditties they would do that like in contrast. So every song it's not like AC/DC where every song is like a banger. This is like incredible. And then all of a sudden they're doing this weird, like kind of semi-funny, sarcastic song.
But that's what's funny is the incredible stuff is so good that it buries the shit stuff that you're just like, it's all good because White Room, holy Lola, passing the time can suck it, but right?
No, you're totally nailing it. You're totally nailing it. So, and that's it. And that was that album. Again, covers of blues classics. Excuse me. Just so we're specific, cover of electric blues classics like Sitting on Top of the World or Born Under a Bad Sign. Stay on White Room just first, because that's the title track. That's the first track on the album. The song I still love, still my favorite. And one of the great things about that song is the use of this new device called the wah-wah pedal. It was actually the Clyde McCoy wah-wah pedal. And this is the first time we're hearing, I mean, we had heard a little with Jimi Hendrix, with Voodoo Child, and then to me, it's if I was rating my top 3 wah-wah songs from that era, I would go this way. You ready?
Yeah.
I would go number 1, this song, I don't even know if it's called Rainy Day, but it sounds like it's a Jimi Hendrix song. It goes, rainy days, rain all day. It's like whatever that song is that's my favorite.
Okay.
Then number 2, White Room, Eric Clapton playing the wah-wah. And number 3,
Voodoo
Jeff
Child.
Beck.
Oh, wow.
Who recently passed away. Is that correct?
Yeah, not too long ago, a couple years ago, I think at the most.
Jeff Beck from the Yardbirds did a song on his Truth album with Rod Stewart called Ain't Superstitious. And if you ever just want to listen to 3 incredible wah-wah songs, listen to that. Would be
dude.
If you like, and again, this was just like a new thing they had just invented, and I don't know if you even know what a wah-wah does.
So wah-wah, it's like we had to explain it to everybody because I know.
Well, it's basically when you have like tone. It's not a volume pedal; it's a tone pedal. So it goes from a lot of treble to a lot of bass to a lot of treble to a lot, but it's just in the mid-range section. So it goes back and forth. And somebody at Vox, who also made the Beatles amplifiers, was like, wait a minute, that's a cool sound. Maybe a guitar player could use a pedal to go back and forth. And they put that machinery inside a volume pedal for a organ. So anyway, this is really like very precise of the time kind of guitar.
Yeah.
Again, I think Clapton benefited from this explosion of the wah-wah pedal, these huge, huge Marshall amplifiers. And these great guitars that that are from the late 50s with Les Pauls to the SGs to these double cutaways. It was just he really benefited from 10 years earlier. He would have had none of that for his sound. So it's a real technological explosion going on, as well as a reinterpretation. Because Clapton always says, like whenever he's in interviews, they're like, "How do you play like that?" He goes, "I don't know. I listen to BB King. You can listen to BB King." Yeah. He was like, I'm not doing anything that's that insane. And but I think he underplays it a little bit because he was so on top of it. And
I was gonna say it's like this is their most iconic song. Definitely, right?
Between that and Sunshine of Your Love, those are the two.
Actually, that might be more because that riff.
Yes.
Yeah. This was a hit though. This was number 6 in the Billboard Hot 100. They be the last major hit before they broke up in 68. Ginger Baker gets no writing credit for it. Even though he came up with the 5/4 Bolero introduction.
That's awesome.
He didn't get that. Here in the least
maybe
amount
that's
of royalties.
Maybe that's why he pulled a knife on
what?
Bruce.
Did we talk about that yet?
No, we did, but earlier when he was.
I know you said there was rivalry. I didn't know he pulled a knife.
Yes, he did earlier. Earlier, he had pulled a knife. He was a very volatile guy, like I said. He beat up his documentarian. Do we need anything? He physically assaulted his
dude. I would punch Morgan Spurlock if I ever saw him.
He also passed away.
He died on my bed. Yeah.
Okay.
Whoops. Whoopsie doodle.
But can we talk a little and then close this all out on maybe the greatest live showcase? I know you saw Clapton at his worst at Madison Square Garden.
I have the lineup. Let me tell you what he did.
Yeah,
this is what Clapton did before we get into this. So he opened with "God Save the Queen." Then he goes "Tearing Us Apart."
Yeah.
Then he goes into "Key to the Highway."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, "I'm Your Hoochie Coochie Man."
Yeah, that's muddy. Yeah.
All right, "Rivers of Tears" or "River of Tears." Then this is with the full band. Then he does "I Shot the Sheriff." Okay, there we go. So we're like, all right, he's about to start picking
the reggae classic.
I mean, it's a great song. Then he goes acoustic.
Well, wait, the guy shot the sheriff, but he didn't shoot the deputy.
No,
is that right?
Not. He did not.
Is that a defense? Is that really a good defense?
I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. It was Frank. It should have been like, that should be the next line. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. It was a Mexican.
But I see what you're saying. He's trying to blame, like they both got shot.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a weird defense. Just like, I shot the sheriff. Oh, you got me on that. I will. That's grand.
Dead to rights. I can't deny it. That's me. That's all me.
That's on me.
That's on me. The
deputy. Hear me out. Hear me out.
You're gonna try to pin it on me, but no.
I know the deputy's dead. Had nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with the deputy. I mean, I don't think I even saw a deputy there. Sheriff, okay, I shot that motherfucker.
Wait, Mr. Marley, Mr. Marley, let me ask you the question again. I'm just a reporter here. So you're claiming you did shoot the sheriff?
Yes.
Okay.
Totally.
And what about the deputy, Bernie?
Nope. Okay. Not at all, man. That's not my style.
Your style is more what?
I go for the big guy. I don't go for no little guy. I'm not going for a deputy.
Now, you understand you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to say anything about the sheriff at all.
I mean, you're literally holding a picture of me next to the sheriff dead with the gun and my thumbs up like it's a lion trophy. But the deputy, I don't know what you're talking about.
What if we could show that the deputy was shot with the same gun that the sheriff was shot with? You're still going to deny?
Yep. Totally, right. Dude. I mean, also keep in mind when this came out in 1970, they didn't have DNA. So how are you going to find it?
Right.
How are you going to prove it? You think that's a bullet? It's just a gun bullet.
So he played that song. Okay, let's keep
So he played
going.
I Shot the Sheriff. That was fun. That was we did a little improv.
That was the high point.
That's a clip. That's a clip. Clip it, Justin. All right. Country. Then he goes into the acoustic set with Country Boy, Muddy Waters cover. Then he does JJ Cale's After Midnight. Then he plays the
After Midnight.
Yes.
It's also slow hand, right?
After Midnight, but
or
yeah,
maybe 461. Okay, keep going.
Then he plays the song that I didn't know before, but I really liked. Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out.
One of my favorite all-time songs.
I really liked that. And then he goes Layla acoustic.
I live the life of a millionaire. It's about when you don't have any money, no one cares.
Sure.
It's a really, oh my God. Sidebar, I saw Alberta Hunter. You don't know who that is. Sing that song live. Keep going.
Then he did Layla.
Acoustic.
Acoustic. And they did Tears in Heaven, but like sped up. So it wasn't good. Then he comes back. He does with the full band. He does Badge, Wonderful Tonight.
Let's just stop for a second. Badge is a Cream song co-written by George Harrison.
Really? It's not. What record is it on?
Goodbye Cream.
Okay. Cream. What a fucking horrible name for a band.
Now that I know what cream pie means, it's even worse.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wonderful Tonight. He does Wonderful Tonight. That got all the 50s and 60-year-old people in relationships swooning. Right. Then he did Crossroad Blues by so he did this. Then he did The Sky Is Crying. And then he did Cocaine. Yeah. And then he closed the show with High Time We Went.
That song I don't know, but
it's a Joe Cocker cover with
Jimmy
Vaughn, I guess, was there too. Or was he dead? I have no idea. It just says with Jimmy Vaughn. No, he was alive. So yeah, he must have come out and played. Let me tell you something.
Okay, let me ask you this, because that sounds like a phenomenal. What would you want him to play? Would you want White Room?
I want Mainline Florida. My God, I want Mainline Florida. If he played that, I would have shit myself. Because that's what made me a fan of Eric Clapton. We did that record. We did what is it? Something, whatever, Ocean Avenue or Ocean Boulevard. What was that record?
Ocean Boulevard.
Yes, we did that, and but that's the one I did with Satriani, and that closed. The album was good. Mainline Florida meant, oh, he's a god. I get it now. I love that song. Still, I put it in my top 10 favorite songs from doing this podcast. But it was just boring, man. I did take mushrooms too, and it just wasn't fun. It really wasn't. I mean, I paid the tickets were cheap too, man. I had fucking dead center, maybe like 14, 15 rows back from him for like $150. So people don't like him. You know what I mean? He's not loved. I think there's like, because that was a question that Adam wrote for me to ask you.
Yeah,
which is, are you behind, or what is your stance on the Eric Clapton is a prick scale?
Well, I mean, obviously that rant on stage is hard to get
over, dude. Yeah, it's like come on, man. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Hard to get over. I'm one of those who can divide that stuff. Like, to me, it doesn't touch the musical aspect of it. And again, I'm not saying Clapton hasn't kind of repeated himself over and over through the years, but he's one of the top guitarists ever to touch the instrument. So I'm with that.
I get that. I get it. And I can,
by the way,
and I can remove art from the artist. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can
compartmentalize. Yeah, for sure. I'm totally there with you, but I think there's he just, the whole COVID thing, all this stuff, man. It's just like, he just seems like a fucking prick.
Did he create COVID? Was he in Wuhan?
He and Fauci lied and people died.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
No, but I'm pretty sure like he was very anti fucking, which as many people were, very anti the restrictions. I think he was
anti-mandate.
Also like pro Brexit, and he was like, fuck this. And so he's just, He's just a prick. I
You know
don't
who
know
was also pro-Brexit?
who.
Ringo Starr.
Was he
You know,
really?
Yeah, it was also Roger Daltrey from The Who. Like
Was he
all the big rock.
really? Why?
Yeah.
Why were they?
Because maybe it's a more nuanced argument than you're making it. That people on one side are pricks and people on the other side are enlightened. Maybe there's more to the story.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe
Or
there's
or
there's
maybe all of those
neo-Nazis.
guys. Yeah.
Just
Something
like in
Ringos-
Ukraine. Yeah, it's like no. They're not neo-Nazis. I'm just saying that's like Russia's excuse for invading Ukraine is that there's neo-Nazis there. And
Oh,
like, no, it's really you need the resources. All right.
Okay, so
Where
before
were
we
we?
get to the final questions and before we do the quick rundown of Wayne stuff, I want to just briefly talk about Crossroads.
Tell me there. Take me.
Because that is the first. Again, the second album. The second album is all live from San Francisco, and he redoes the Toad drum solo, but does it much longer. And then they become like kind of a jam band during this era. They play very 16-minute versions of songs and stuff, but they do a 4-minute, 12-second version of Crossroads. The Robert Johnson, who is one of the most influential guitar players ever, dead at age 27, part of the 27 Club, was poisoned by a jealous guy because he was flirting with his girlfriend or his wife. And most importantly, it's part of the Crossroads myth that this guy, Robert Johnson, went down the Crossroads in a Faustian bargain, sells his soul to the devil to become a great guitar player. And so anyway, I don't know if you ever saw that movie Crossroads.
With what's his name? Ralph Macchio.
And you know who plays the devil in that? You mentioned him earlier on the podcast, Steve Vai.
Did he really?
Yeah. They do a guitar, like whoever wins this, like Devil Goes Down to Georgia, kind of like fight.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. It's about the guy selling his soul to the devil. Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to watch that then. That sounds actually pretty interesting. I just remember Ralph Macchio like shredding in it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm not saying it's a great movie. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but the Steve Vai showdown with Ralph Macchio and Steve Vai is the devil. It's insane. It's so good.
I'm in.
So anyway, you should know about Robert. I'm sure Robert Johnson's King of the Delta Blues Singers is on this list somewhere. But
it's probably. I think it's in the top 100.
It is okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because I just remember my buddy Greg Chait, who's one of my oldest friends, loves blues, loves Jimmy, and he bought for his birthday or for Christmas, he got the box set, the Robert Johnson complete recordings.
Yeah,
he was like, this is where I was told is like all the guys that I love this guy, so I wanted to listen to it, and it's all like the recordings are all like hear that.
I know. All done in the first ones were done in a hotel in San Antonio, Texas, the Gunter Hotel, and it's like it was just a makeshift. He just had him facing the wall and recording with one mic. It was that, and then he's dead 2 years later. But anyway, one of the songs he writes is called Crossroads, and it's on that album, and the Clapton version of it on Wheels of Fire is to this day one of the greatest guitar solo show. This is what happens. He sings, first of all, he's on vocals, he sings it, and then you saw it live. Obviously, you were shrooming, so you couldn't take it all in. So he sings it, then he does a guitar solo that's a 10 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Then he sings another verse and then comes back for another guitar solo.
No shit.
That is a gift from God, is the only description I can have of that solo. That solo beats the first solo, 3 choruses of it, and underneath it, I mean, the recording is so great.
It really is.
The Jack Bruce's playing. I don't even know how to describe his bass playing in this song, but it's like it's kind of playing bass lines and rhythm guitar on the bass, like super fast things. You think it would be like, okay, this is too busy. Why is he getting in the way of the solo? Why doesn't he just lay back and show? It's and you can see they're feeding off of each other. But the second solo in Crossroads that Eric Clapton does cements him as a guitar god for all time, in my opinion. More than what he did with the Yardbirds, more than his little solo in Sunshine for Your Love, more than the wah-wah work on White Room. That second solo, the first solos, if that was just it alone, it would be incredible.
Yeah.
But then check it out. That's it. And now, all right, that's all I can talk about.
Oh no, I mean listen. It's you're the perfect guest for this. You're the perfect guest for actually every album, every record that we do. You're the perfect guest. You're just like you're dialed in. You know what the fuck's going on. You're fun. You have a bunch of
we do improvs about killing a sheriff.
Oh God, you're fantastic. So, yeah, I mean this is an important record. I feel like it's. I'm sorry if we didn't talk. Sitting on Top of the World was a great song.
That's a cover song. They were doing blues covers of Chicago blues.
Yeah.
Again, just so we just get the lineage correct. The Delta blues guys, that's obviously Robert Johnson, and a bunch of other guys, Son House and Charlie Patton, all of those guys. They create this template, and then Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, all of these guys, Freddie King, they go up to Chicago, plug in, create electric blues. The guys in England hear these songs and like, oh, we love it.
Yeah.
We love the Chicago blues. And yeah, but the Chicago blues roots are Delta blues. Acoustic guitar.
Is this their best record?
Wait, do the sound again. Do the sound again. Yeah, that's the roots of Chicago blues are this. Very good.
She's a devil woman.
Right, exactly. And you could just see the guy from the record company like giving him $4, if he records the 20 tracks or something like that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We appreciate it.
I always thought it was funny is like they, the two things about blues music is that they take whatever your ailment is, your thing that you are the most self-conscious about, and they make that your nickname, like Blind Willie Jenkins, or like Jaundice Jimmy Smiles, or like Rosacea Face.
Yeah, I remember Nagging Cough McGee was incredible.
Eczema Eddie Brown.
Right. What would be another one? Like Darting Eyes Henderson was what a great player.
Halitosis Henrik Clementine. And then I also think it was funny too, is that like all the blues guys, you just think they're all straight, but that there had to have been like a gay blues singer.
Oh, that's right.
That was like, suck your dick backwards. Put your balls inside my mouth. But down. Gonna suck your dick backwards. Put my nose inside your ass.
That's another great thing about blues that we never talk about. It's like, do you have to repeat the first line the second time again? It's always that.
I mean, it's a formula. It's literally, but that's why it's great. And I think that's kind of why blues is the blue, because dude, pop music is a fucking formula. It is not complicated at all. And I know that because I am going to write a #1 hit in the Christian market. And I'm going to write a, dude, I have to do a Bob Dylan episode tomorrow that I'm about to record. I'm just so.
Can I ask which album?
Ask or guess.
Oh,
you want to? I'll tell you. It's
just tell me. There's too many. Yes.
Yeah. There's Modern Times.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I just don't get it. I still don't get it, and it's because I'm going backwards. I'm listening to his older shit first, and then I'm going back to the good stuff. And maybe when I get to Highway 61 Revisited and Blood on the Tracks and all those other great records, I will appreciate this shit. I just don't get. Every song is 7 minutes long. It's a story that it gets boring. It's about death, God and Jesus making a pact with the devil. But one of the songs on there is the exact song, melody wise and cadence wise, as when Cartman started a Christian rock band to prove to Stan, not to Stan, no, to Kyle, that he could make a #1 record. He goes, if we do Christian rock, because they were in a band together. And it's like it's literally the same chord progression, the same style. So I'm very excited to play that for the guy tomorrow, who loves Bob Dylan, by the way. So I just can't. My buddy Morty helps me work on the shows. Like, not this one, because I knew that like you come in prepared. You're the guy for this. You're the Morty of the episode.
Thank you.
Oh, you're great.
And also, can I just thank you for not making me do that Dylan song and letting me do this?
Oh my God, no. Well, yeah, dude. I mean, look at, like, let's talk about the records you've done.
Okay.
So we're gonna rank them. All right. Steve Miller Band, Fly Like an Eagle.
Yeah.
Number 445. Number 355. Wow, we had a huge break. Yardbirds, Having a Rave Up.
Yeah, I love it.
Then you come back 5 episodes later for Yardbirds Self-Titled.
Right.
AKA Roger the Engineer.
Yeah.
Then you come back 49 episodes, or not 49, 39 episodes later, the Sun Records Collection. Then you do 20 episodes, a little less than 20 or more, whatever. The Velvet Underground's White Light, White Heat. Then Going to a Go-Go, Smokey Robinson. Then Crosby, Stills and Nash Self-Titled at 262. So you go from 293 to 273 to 262 to 245 with Jerry Lee Lewis, All Killer No Filler Anthology. Then this is where you come to quick back-to-back. We were probing for the vocal cord surgery. Professor Longhair, New Orleans Piano, Bobby Blue Bland, Two Steps from the Blues. Out of all of those records, which is your favorite that you've done?
And we're not
now
adding...
Cream, and now you're on Cream.
Oh, Wheels of Fire.
205, yeah.
This is my favorite of all the ones you've done. Second would be, again, this is the way I live my life. Like, I'm very precise. Like, there was a compilation, like there was a compilation album with the Sun Records, right?
Yeah, that's 311.
I mean, yes, the compilation is going to be better because there's not going to have passing that, it's not going to have any bad songs on it. It's just going to have one. Yeah. So that would be number 2. The Sun Records, yes, that was the blind guys.
Where's Steve Miller Band fly its way in there?
I would put Having a Rave Up above the Steve Miller Band.
Okay.
I would even put Professor Longhair above Steve Miller Band. Then Steve Miller Band. I love Professor Longhair. I love him.
Damn,
but maybe not. Maybe Steve Miller Band above him.
What about?
I know. I like old music before my time. Like, so that's a little. That's a little bit of a problem for me.
No, it's not a problem. How's that a problem? It's like it's just that's what you're accustomed to.
That's my thing. I really appreciate it.
Some people like having their testicles stepped on. That's the only way they can come. And I mean, it's like that's just people have their taste.
It's a very sexual episode.
Oh, sorry.
What's going on? Is there anything you have?
I have a butt plug in as we speak. It's my thing now. It's Pride out here, dude. Actually, it's like it's so gay outside right now.
This is the last day of Pride. This is the last day.
And dude, New York's about to have their big Pride Day.
Oh, really?
It's crazily. It's like the cops are fucking, roping off. Oh, they're prancing, they're dancing, they're schmancing.
Yeah,
it's a gay old time. All right, let's do the final things. I got to eat lunch.
Yeah,
you got to get out of here. Yeah, it's already
what
is it 1:27? We did this was great though. You're going to come back soon anyway. All right, favorite song on this record. What do we got?
White Room.
Okay, least favorite song on this record.
Oh my God, I don't know. One of those, like As You Said, or one of the just there's like 3 of them that are
Passing the Time.
I go over those all the time. I don't like to say least favorite, but it's one of those that's not a blues cover and not White Room. And
can you fuck to this?
Well, certainly Born Under a Bad Sign. You can.
Yeah,
That's
I think
literally
you can fuck to White
written
Room.
to that. Yeah.
I think White Room into Sitting on Top of the World. They're sexy songs. Like White Room.
Oh, it's also what I say is the sexy song is Politician. In fact, the first line is "Come a here, little girl, step into my car." It's like it's a very sexual assaulty kind of thing. Really good. Really good. Let me go Politician over Born Under a Bad Sign for the song that you could make out to foreplay. I don't like to use the F word.
Sure.
You know?
I know you're very G-rated. You're the G-rated comedian.
I'm a G-rated comic.
There's nothing wrong with that. Last but not least, what's your pitch to get someone to listen to this?
Oh, that's a good.
Your summarization of this whole record.
Well,
if
you in any way enjoy electric guitar music, and there's some people that don't. There's some people that like electric guitar is like an addendum to the song, like a little solo, like George Harrison would do, like a beautiful little solo in the middle of it. But the lyrics and the melody of the song are the main thing. But if you're a Guitar Hero guy, this is a must listen to album, particularly just for 2 songs. Forget the blues covers that they do so perfectly. Would be Crossroads, because you can see the absolute virtuosity and next world level guitar playing of Eric Clapton, and then White Room, which sums up the band perfectly because it's written by Jack Bruce and his buddy. Jack Bruce is on vocals, and Eric Clapton's wah-wah pedal work is just thrilling, and it's a really cool, fun song just to listen to. So it's just those 2 songs, I would say, are that's my pitch.
I could say this if you've never heard, if you want to know why everybody loves Clapton, this is one of the things that you got to go to. You got to listen to this. And I feel this is kind of like, the early stages of heavy metal, hard rock, heavy metal.
Question.
Yeah. But I think that's why I'm attracted to it. Also, there's a slight underlying racism that I just love. I can tell that
it's infectious.
They all probably just were like, say shit. He's like, should we go? Should we get food? It's like down the street. He's like, I'm not going to that packy place. I wasn't recommending that one, Eric. Because I agree with you.
But it is amazing to this day that the whitest guys on the planet, the English, were so attracted to the blackest African American music, which was the blues.
And again, it still happens today, dude, with like rich white kids in DC love, the most hardcore hip hop. It doesn't make a difference. It's like it's almost because they're so white, and these people are so. Blues is so black. It's so black. And that's not a bad thing. That's not an insult. That's like really, it's like that's why it's like that, because they use it. Same reason why I hate white people making reggae music, because reggae was a way for these black artists that are living in a third world country to deal with the discrimination, the hardships, and no money, the government being shitty, whatever the fuck it was. And all the people that made white reggae are from Orange County, California. So like, I don't know. Like, it's like
it is an interesting
pumpkin spice latte for only 3 months a year is unfair.
Right. Of course, it is an interesting dynamic, though. You will admit that. Like, and I will say, I do feel like these English guys nail it. They really play the blues very well. Again. I know people are like, it's not authentic and I can't, but I love it.
I do too. I'm excited to listen to the next record. Actually, we actually have coming up the John Maytals. Is that his name? We have that one. Yeah, we have that coming up. So you might be doing that one, brother. So stay loose. What do you got to pitch? You got anything you want to promote?
Oh, now just my book, The History of Stand-Up Comedy, from Mark Twain to Dave Chappelle.
I'm ordering that right now on Amazon. I'm going to order that right now. Okay. I want that in my arsenal, and I don't want to pay for it. So you get I don't even know if you get anything from it, probably, but
get you. All right.
Should I not? You want to give me one?
I'll give you one. Yeah.
Okay. You get me one, sign it.
I'll sign it.
Done. Yeah, that's way
Twitchy
better.
Twitchy Eye Federman, blues player.
I love you, buddy.
Slightly, no, it would be even more subtle. It'd be like too self-aware Federman, too. I'm trying to think like the worst parts of my personality. Self-conscious comedy from Wayne Federman. Can't be in the moment, cannot be in the moment.
Doing it head Federman, yo. This guy kills it.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
My pleasure, buddy. I'll see you soon, okay?
I'm signing off.
Yeah, so am I. Bye, buddy.